Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media.
Welcome. The 12 everyday jurors vowed to make a decision based on the evidence and the law, and the evidence and the law alone. Their deliberations led them to a unanimous conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Donald J. Trump, is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to conceal a scheme to corrupt the 2016 election. And while this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law, and doing so without fear or favor.
In the matter of the people of the state of New York against Donald J. Trump, he was found guilty in 34 counts. So for effect, I was trying to make sure that you all knew what was going on. As you know, last year, April of 2023, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who is a brother, pursued an indictment against Donald Trump for 34 counts. The 34 counts were all related to falsifying business records in the first degree. This is 34 of Donald Trump's 88 counts or indictments, right? He has been indicted on 88 charges, different charges on the county level and on the federal level. The federal cases involve classified documents and election interference. The classified documents charge is related to Mar-a-Lago. It is in Miami. The election interference case is regarding what happened on January 6th. It is in D.C. Both of those cases brought to you by Jack Smith. Both of those delayed. Fulton County brought to you by D.A. Fani Willis. Delayed. This is the only case that is likely to see a courtroom before the election. It was a major deal. A lot of folks, including myself, had a great trepidation about whether or not there would be a guilty count at all. Now I'm going to tell y'all why I'm still not popping bottles. Number one, I'm not ever going to celebrate anyone going to jail necessarily. But what I'm concerned about here is this. The Supreme Court has heard a presidential immunity case for Donald Trump relating to criminal charges. They have never had to hear a case about indicting a president, a sitting president, in their official capacity or otherwise. And so there is no precedent for that. So they had to hear, they have a civil basis for that with Richard Nixon and others. They don't have a criminal basis. So this is the first time they have to decide whether a president should have criminal immunity or complete immunity, as they call it. That case, oral arguments have been heard. That case will be decided in late June, early July. What does that mean? People will argue that that only applies to the criminal charges on the federal level. Here's what I take issue with. There's a little thing called the United States Constitution. And in the U.S. Constitution, there is a provision related to laws, like the hierarchy of laws in this country. It's called the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause is Article 6, Paragraph 2 in the Constitution. In that, what you should know is that federal law takes precedent over state law. You should know that this is where they argue that federal law is the supreme law of the land. Sure, we understand states' rights. Sure, we understand that people can be held liable or guilty on multiple levels. I understand that. But I am near confident that these folks will make the argument that if he is immune on a federal level, that will trickle down to the state case, to the county case. That's what I believe. That is my argument. That is my highest and greatest concern right now. So I am not confident. I'm not putting a lot of stock in, okay, this man is supposed to be sentenced on 7/11, even back though Lil Joe. Shout out to everybody who knows about Ice Cube. 7/11 at 10 a.m. by Judge Juan Merchan. Now, here's the thing. He's slated to be sentenced. He has no priors, at least no priors that he's been convicted of. I think we all believe that Donald Trump has been crooked for a long time, playing a mean and evil game for a long time. But in his white privilege, he's never been held liable, criminally liable or otherwise. He's been sued a gazillion times, paid fines a gazillion times, but never had a criminal charge that he's been found guilty of. These are the first, and it happens to be 34 of them. It's a pretty strong statement by this jury. But he's scheduled to be sentenced on 7/11. Here's the thing. With no priors, he's not likely to be, he's not likely to go to jail. And so I want people to manage their expectations around that as well. So when you consider that and how his rabid fan base, his rabid supporters, what they believe, what they embrace, what they support, I think that that is only going to embolden them. I think that they are going to say, this man was wrongly accused in this criminal justice system. It was selective and vindictive prosecution. He should have never been charged. He should have never been indicted, right? And he's going to use it to fundraise. He is going to use it to garner more support. He's going to use it to attack the jurors, to attack the judge, to attack the prosecutors in these cases, as he's already done, including the judge's daughter, right? Like, so these are not things that I'm just making up out of thin air. This is how he moves. So I'm very concerned that that these charges won't stick, and that to the extent that they say that he's a wrongfully convicted felon, that it only emboldens his base. There are a lot of people, as you all know, that are wrongfully convicted every single day. We've just been fighting for one. Marilyn Mosby, as you all know, who we're still pushing for all of us to sign a petition for her presidential pardon, justiceformarilynmosby.com. This is what we're up against, y'all. This is a system that has not been kind to us. It has not been good to us. And Donald Trump is trying to play and prey on our oppression that we've experienced in the criminal justice system and act like he understands the plight of a brother or a sister. No, he don't. And so we need to know what it is. This is someone who's been crooked for a long time, has been fraudulent for a long time, has gotten away with murder for a long time. We need to call it what it is. So when you are faced with the inaccuracies and the misinformation and the alternative facts from his supporters, make sure you're clear about what else is at stake and what else is on the line and what else he's been charged with, even if the judge who he appointed in Miami continues to delay the trial. You all understand what it is. It's all part of the game. The reason why this has so much traction in the Supreme Court and why they really are considering granting him full immunity, which would mean avoiding criminal prosecution on the federal level, and I think will have ramifications on the state and county levels as well. There are three of those judges who were appointed by Donald Trump. When we talk about what is at stake in this justice system, please understand the way in which the games are played. You will hear from us on this podcast, and you will certainly hear more from us on the Trump trials and the tribulations that he's putting us through as a result of these trials next week on the podcast. Welcome home, everybody. Make sure if you haven't downloaded yet and followed the podcast, it is Native Land Pod. Check us out every single Thursday. We absolutely are having the times of our lives, and we have justice to pursue by any and all means necessary. Y'all take care.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeart Radio, visit the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.